And Muhammad, I'm sorry.
Okay, the House, oh, I'm sorry. I'm waiting on STLTV to give me the go ahead. We're good? Yeah. Okay, thank you. The Housing, Urban Development and Zoning Committee for November 9th, 2021 be called to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Davis,
Present.
Alderman Cone, Alderman Coder, Alderwoman Boyd,
Present.
Alderman Muhammad, Alderwoman Martin,
Present.
Alderman Narayan,
Here.
Alderwoman Evans, Chairman Boyd.
Present.
5 present, you have quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for November 2nd, 2021.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved in second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Davis,
Aye.
Alderman Cone, Alderman Coder, Alderwoman Boyd,
Aye.
thank you, Alderman Muhammad, Alderwoman Martin,
Aye.
Alderman Narayan,
Aye.
Alderwoman Evans, I'm sorry, Chairman Boyd.
Aye.
5 aye votes.
Okay, valuable. You approve the minutes for November 2nd. We have 3 board bills for review today. The first board bill we will take up is Board Bill 114. We have 2 committee members who have board bills, so we'll allow the alderman that's not on the committee to present first. So Alderman Caro, you are up on Board Bill 114.
Board Bill 114 is a apartment complex that's being built. If you're familiar with the post office, the Clifton Heights post office, there's been a vacant piece of ground there for, I think, as long as I've been alive. It used to be part of an old quarry, and they're going to develop it. It's supposed to be a nice development. I saw some pictures. And so it needs to be rezoned so they can put in the apartment buildings. And I think it's like, I think things like on a couple of acres or an acre and a half or so. So that's kind of the long and the short of it.
Okay, would you like Mary Hartburn to talk about the bill in more detail?
Yeah, Mary, if you want to talk about it, yeah, that'd be fine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. So as Alderman Vaccaro said, this is a vacant site. It's about 2.
Excuse me, Mary.
Yes,
Mary,
sir.
do you have video?
Yes, let me see.
There we
Yeah,
go.
there we
Thank
go.
you.
Yes. So yes, this is about a 2.55 acre site that is vacant. It's sort of bounded by existing single family homes, another multifamily development, and then the commercial that goes along Hampton Avenue. The proposal here is to build a multifamily structure that'll have 96 residential units, 116 off-street parking spaces, and will include amenities for the tenants, such as a pool and a workout area, a dog park, and a picnic area. Currently, the site is zoned D single family residential, and a rezoning to the D multiple family dwelling district would allow for the proposal to be done under the zoning code. And I'll take any questions that the committee might have.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we have 2 people signed up speaking in favor. We're going to hear them if they want to speak, and then we'll take questions from members of the committee. The first up is Mr. Craig Heller. Mr. Heller. Okay, we'll come back to Mr. Heller. Next up is Mr. Tony Ranieri.
Good morning. I am on this morning. Craig couldn't make it, but I'll be happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
Okay, Mr. Ranieri, do you have video?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Thank you. Would you like to testify?
I'll answer any questions. If there's something in particular anybody wants to know or needs to
Okay.
know, we're happy to answer
Well,
that.
great. Well, let me just swear you in case someone want to ask
Sure.
ask questions. Do you affirm or swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. We will now go around to members of the committee to ask questions. Alderwoman Davis.
No questions.
Alderman Cone. Alderman Kotar. Alderwoman Pam Boyd.
No questions.
Alderman Muhammad. Alderwoman Martin.
No questions.
Alderman Narayan.
No questions. Thank you.
Alderwoman Evans. Okay, Alderman. There he is. Alderman Carroll, you are now recognized to close on your bill.
I think Alderwoman Martin raised her hand there.
Who?
I don't know why I'm having trouble seeing the bill in, I thought I would realize I was, shame on me, looking at the wrong bill. Hang on.
We're
Go
on Bill
ahead. I think I
114.
got it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You're-
Alderman McCarroll, you recognized to close on Board Bill 114.
Yeah, I would just ask for your favorable consideration.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion on Board Bill 114.
So moved.
I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion. Now you gotta help me. I make a motion to accept Board Bill 113.
Pass Board Bill
114.
114 out of committee with a due pass recommendation.
Yes, sir.
Second.
That's what I'm trying to do.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Davis,
Aye.
Alderman Cone, Alderman Coder, Alderwoman Boyd,
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad, Alderwoman Martin,
Aye.
Alderman Narayan,
Aye.
Alderwoman Evans, Chairman Boyd,
Aye.
5 aye votes.
Okay, with your vote, you've passed Board Bill 114 out of committee with a due pass recommendation. Next Board Bill before us is Board Bill 113, sponsored by Alderwoman Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Board Bill 113 is a community improvement district bill. It is for the Steel Coat project, as we have talked about in the last few weeks, that will provide us with 190 plus units of apartment living and also a retailer currently named as Target. I do see that there are others that could speak about this particular bill, and I would ask that if you so desire, if anyone is signed up to speak, I'll yield.
Okay, there are 3 people signed up to speak in favor of the bill. I believe they're all from the development team and 1 person speaking against. Would you like me to cover Mr. Hamburg, Preston, and Brooks Goldaker? Would you like them in any particular order?
I'd like Mr. Hamburg first, please.
Okay, Mr. Hamburg,
Yes.
good morning.
Good morning.
Do you affirm or swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please proceed, sir.
I appreciate your consideration again today on this project. I'm really here to answer any questions. I think, as Alderwoman Davis mentioned, I know we've presented some information on just high level overview of the project in the past. I'd probably like to yield over to my attorney, Mr. Preston, on any specifics on this bill in particular.
Okay, so somebody's going to have to talk more specific about the project. I know we've talked about it in committee kinda last week, but there may be some people that didn't tune into that. So I would like to have a refresher over what the project is and and how this helps the project. So would you like Mr. Preston to go into more detail with that?
Sure, I can give a high-level overview on just the development in general, and then yield over to Mr. Preston to talk about this board bill in particular. The project on a whole, as Alderwoman Davis mentioned, will basically be built on Gratiot Street, where it intersects with Grand. Gratiot sits below Grand currently, so we'll have an entrance into 2 levels of parking along Gratiot, which will then elevate the floor that Target will sit on to be right on top of the garage and elevated to be at grade with Grand. And then we'll build 196 apartment units on top of the Target store. A big part of that, making it at grade with Grand is access from both the pedestrian and driving perspective. So we're going to reestablish an entrance to the Steel Coat Square neighborhood and district, as we're calling it, at Papin Street. Currently, that dead ends into some land that we acquired a couple of weeks ago. We plan to reopen that to Grand and make that a new entry point into Target's 140 space surface parking field, and also further entrance into the remainder of the neighborhood where we've started and completed some other apartment projects. So that's a high level overview on what the plan is. From here, Rob, if you want to take over and go over this board bill in particular, I think it'd be helpful.
Okay, so I'll call on Mr. Rob Preston. Mr. Preston, do you affirm or swear that the testimony you're about to give the truth is nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You may proceed, sir.
Thank you. So this is a companion bill to the ones that we considered last week. I apologize they got separated from not hearing them together. So I apologize your indulgence on that. This is the a Chapter 100 bond issue, similar to exactly the same idea as an LCRA bonds to provide a sales tax.
Mr. Preston, I'm sorry, you froze and we lost you for about 30 seconds.
Oh, better now?
Yeah, so can you just start over for us?
Of course. I start off by apologizing that this bill got uncoupled from its companions that we heard last week. And we discussed this a little bit last week as part of the whole package that the developer has sought for purposes of this project. This is a Chapter 100 bond transaction. It's almost identical in form to an LCRA bonds that will provide only provide a sales tax exemption on construction materials to the developer for materials acquired that will go into the project. This doesn't provide any, this particular piece of the package doesn't provide for any tax abatement or anything like this. And as we discussed last week, this is the vehicle through which the developer has agreed to provide some backstops on the project. There's a clawback provision within the documents pertaining to the Chapter 100 bonds that provide that if developers' rate of return exceeds 7%, I believe, and if they sell the project within the first 7 years, that the city will claw back excess profits. The development or the performance agreement also includes a provision by which the developer is required to maintain 5% of the units in the project that will put affordable housing at a rate of 60% or below of the average median income, and an additional 5% of the units in the project will have to be priced at between 60 and 80%, 61 and 80% of the average median income. To the extent there's technical questions, I believe Mark Spikerman, counsel, is an attendee and could answer questions as well.
Okay. We also have Mr. Brooks Goettiker, who signed up. Would he like to speak, or does he want to be on stand?
I don't believe Mr. Goettiker is on the call.
Okay. Well, let's go around and take questions from members of the committee, and then we'll come back to Mr. Jerry Connolly.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I just needed to apologize to the committee because I think I'm playing it back in my head. I said Sid, and I should have said something different. I don't want to mislead anybody. I've had a lot of complications and a lot of bills on this project. And so I do apologize to everyone. Thank you, sir.
That's okay. That's why I made sure that it was well explained.
Okay, thank you.
That people were clear. So thank you. Let's see. Alderman Cone is not going to be here. Alderman Kotor, has he joined us? Alderwoman Pam Boyd.
I'm sorry. I don't have any questions. I just want to compliment the other people that what I keep hearing are developments that are bringing in housing pieces. So I really appreciate that. And the community needs to understand it's a lot of work and detail when an older person does that. So thank you all. And I look forward to this project. Thank you.
Okay. Alderwoman Martin.
This seems pretty standard. I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Okay. Alderman Orion.
No questions. Thank you.
Alderwoman Evans. Okay. I have probably just a couple of questions. So Target is the big box, and it's going to be residential. Is there anything coming with the big box? Oftentimes, you know, there's an outline. I haven't seen the site plan. So is there anything else coming? Ms. Hamburg, you want to take that?
Yeah, so we nothing on this project, on this site in particular. It's just the Target, the surface parking, and the apartments and the parking below. We do have 7,500 square feet of retail space that's under construction below a project that has apartments above it. That's about a block and a half east of here in the same neighborhood, as well as 5,000 square feet of commercial space below 15 units of residential we completed about a year ago. So both of those, we've seen a big uptick in demand in the last 2 weeks as we've been able to go public with Target coming into the neighborhood. So that'll generate additional retail and help us fill those buildings. And then the only other thing I would say is that we do have some other land that we've acquired to plan for future development in this neighborhood. And I would envision that, you know, I could see those being an outlot or being additional, you know, ground floor retail and another, you know, mid-rise type of building. So, you know, this is really just the anchor to continue to grow this neighborhood and this part of Midtown.
Okay, if we were meeting in person, we probably have a lot of charts and nice renderings that we can see what it might look like. Did you guys have that? Just so
I don't know if this is helpful.
It is a little helpful. It'd be nice if you could share a screen if you actually had it on your computer, but that's a good imagery. And just to put the place in context of where it is, because a lot of people don't really know that street. Was it Goatee? How do you pronounce that street?
I pronounce it Gratchet, but it could be Gratiot as well. So it's basically just northeast of the Grand Shoto intersection. So catty corner to where the university recently finished their hospital.
Okay. And is that where the Captain D's or something?
Correct. It's immediately north. So our parking lot would start. There's an alley behind to the north of that Captain D's and Rallies. Our parking lot starts on the other side of that alley is where our property would begin or does begin.
And So 5% would be set aside for basically affordable housing. How many units is that exactly?
So in total, it's 19 units would be affordable. Half of those would be 60%, and the other half would be between 61 and 80% of AMI.
Okay. And according to this bond, I'm not sure if we did too many of these. I'm used to seeing it in a resolution where we kind of tax exempt the materials. $60 million. It's not to exceed $60 million. Is that all tax exempt taxes that we generally would have received? I'm kind of confused on that.
Yeah, I can jump in on that, and I have some slides to share as well.
Would you please?
Of course, and I'll respond to the question while I share the screen. This is a site plan that shows how the store and the parking will fit on the site.
Okay.
So the performance agreement includes a provision for the sales tax exemption on the construction materials. Generally, we think that the materials, about 15% or so of the materials will be acquired within the city, and the rest would be acquired from jurisdictions outside of the city. As far as the actual amount of, was that your question, sir?
Mr. Preston.
Oh, did I lose you?
Yeah, you froze. You get tax exempt anywhere in the state of Missouri, right? It wouldn't just
that's
tax
right.
exempt. Okay, just want to make sure we're clear on that. So the total cost of the development, as far as the construction, what do you anticipate the total construction cost would be?
Michael?
Yeah. So the number that is in the 60 million is the total cost of the project. Hard costs only on the project are about 45 million.
Okay, gotcha. All right, I do not have any further questions. I am going to go back to the public portion and call for Mr. Jerry Connolly to speak. He has signed up to speak against the project. Mr. Preston, if you can go ahead and stop sharing your screen for us. Thank you. Mr. Connolly. I thought I see, okay. There he is. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Chairman Boyd, members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today.
Yes. Do you affirm or swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth, sir?
I do.
Please proceed.
Firstly, I'd like to make a comment regarding the transparency or lack thereof of this process. This board bill was introduced on October the 15th at the board. It wasn't added to the agenda on the website for this meeting until 8 o'clock in the morning yesterday. And the deadline to register to testify was 1 p.m. yesterday. I think that's totally inadequate, and there also should be no reason why the registration deadline has to be that far in advance. April of last year, the TIF Commission, the Board of E&A all conducted meetings where the deadline was shortly before the meeting, and there was no problem engaging the public on that. As I mentioned last week, and I appreciate Mr. Preston's comment regarding the bills ideally being taken together, and I really wish they were, because I wasn't allowed to speak on issues regarding the tax abatement. I was cut off when I tried to kind of explain the linkage between the different legislation on these bills. And, I looked through the attendance list, and unless I'm missing something, I don't see anyone from the St. Louis Development Corporation staff. And my understanding of the agreement that was signed with the St. Louis Midtown Redevelopment Corp and the City of St. Louis is that LCRA, one of the SLDC boards, should have a review process for the tax incentives granted to developers within the SLU 353 area. Peer Property Group have already received tax abatements on 3 prior phases of the Steel Coat project. And here we are, yet another project where there's up to a 25-year tax abatement, and information on that isn't being disclosed in the only 2 bits of legislation that pertain to the development, namely the SID creation last week, Board Bill 110, and today's Board Bill 113. You know, we've heard the developers speak. I want to hear someone from St. Louis Midtown Redevelopment Corp. I want to hear Mr. Gedeka speak. I want to hear other members of that board speak to the project and why they feel tax abatement is necessary for it. So I believe you as a committee should hold this bill in committee until such time that all this information is shared with the public in the best interest of transparency, so that voters understand the decisions that are being made here have a downstream impact on the revenue that's generated by this project for the public schools, which receive 60% of the property tax revenue, which all of us should, as owners, will have seen on our tax bill that came over the weekend. The other thing I want to highlight is the fact that there's no representation for the Board of Education or anyone from public schools. There's no representation on HUD's committee. There's no representation on LCRA. So there isn't a formal process by which the entity most impacted by tax abatement is is able to present their perspective on the project. So I'd like to see them added to this process, the Board of Education added to this process. Let's see, what else did I have here? So I don't think you should move forward without having financial analysis from SLDC staff. I asked last week if that's been provided. I understand that as a committee, you don't answer questions in this hearing, which I think is a major flaw of the process. But until you're satisfied that these questions have been answered, I don't think you should proceed with voting this bill out of committee.
Happy to.
Hold on.
Apologies.
Okay, Mr. Connolly, are you finished?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back around to members of the committee and see if there are any follow-up questions.
Did you freeze?
Alderwoman Pam Boyd. Okay, Alderman Muhammad.
Did I freeze?
No, Alderwoman Martin.
Yeah, I more have a comment. I'm going to beat a dead horse here, but Target sent the board a letter about changing the plumbing code, and I would really like to hear from Target as they are seeking incentives on materials. But Mr. Hamburg, looks like you have something.
Yeah, I did ask them that after we got hung up last week. I sent an email to them. I have not heard back, but as soon as I hear back, I definitely will forward their response to you on that issue. Didn't want you to think that was forgotten.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Alderman Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to echo my colleague from the 11th sentiment there. It just doesn't sit right with me to have to not say something about Target getting involved in a debate about plumbing codes, and when people are trying to figure out why, they just, oh, no reason, we just feel this way about it, and then come to find out a week later that there's a very real reason. It seems like they were getting involved in that discussion. I would have loved to have had a conversation with them about it, where they were forthcoming with with this rather than hiding their hand. I know that we talk about transparency, and I'm not trying to beat that dead horse. What I'm getting at here is it just doesn't sit right. It feels like they were trying to pull one over on some people here, and I just don't appreciate that. But it sounds like Mr. Hamburg has reached out to them about this and is trying to get in front of that situation as best he can, and I do appreciate that. Thank you.
Alderwoman Evans.
No comments at this time, other than I think you were frozen and you skipped over some people that may have something to say.
Members of the committee.
Starting with Alderwoman Davis, I believe you skipped her.
Yes, it's her bill.
There were some other people.
Alderman Cone asked to be excused. You're right. Alderman Cone asked to be excused, and Alderman Coulter, I called on him briefly. He doesn't look like he's going to join us. But yeah, I can see how that may look like I intentionally skipped over him, but I didn't. But thank you for recognizing that. I guess I want to ask Alderman Ryan, testifying before the Public Safety Committee about a plumbing code. What's your concern about a development and receiving certain incentives for the development? Help me with that connection.
Sure. So I think the frustration that Alderwoman Martin and I have with it is that, as we all know, we've spent more time bickering about a plumbing code than I ever thought I would. That's for sure. But we had a situation where Target, who is a pretty large company, weighed in that debate and gave no reason why they were weighing in that debate. Even when asked about it, they said, oh, well, we're just weighing in on this. And then we find out, I guess, 2 weeks later, that they have a substantial stake in the outcome of that debate, whether it's IPC, UPC, because they would have to then build any stores in the city to that code. And so I would have just liked to see them say, hey, we're doing some development and that's why we have an interest here, rather than just weighing in seemingly out of left field. And I would have just liked to see them be more forthcoming with it. I'm happy to see another Target coming to the area. I'm not turning my back on this because of that. I'm just expressing my frustration because I wish that they would have just been more forthcoming.
So without putting any words in Target's mouth, would you suggesting or implying that the new plumbing code would have made the cost of construction higher, and that could possibly be the reason?
I would love to know what effect that the change in plumbing code would have on Target's project.
And I'm allowing to talk a little bit about this in HUD, but it's not really germane to this bill, because I can sense some frustration, and there is kind of a connection, but I'm going to go ahead and stay on task.
Understood.
Specifically to the bill.
Absolutely.
Alderwoman Martin.
Thank you. I think the concern is that, sorry, my Zoom keeps shifting. I think that that Target actually made this the issue. I don't think that the alderman did. They interjected themselves into building codes in the city, and with knowing that they potentially had this deal on the table. And I think the concern is are they wanting to lessen standards to benefit themselves financially? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Preston, I know it was kind of like a secret, you know, about the development. I know oftentimes corporations like a Target or whatever it may be, may not want to go public with their intentions for whatever reason. Can you just kind of help us understand why a company may not want it to be known up front or months in advance why what they're doing per se, just to kind of clear up some stuff?
Sure, and I can't speak for Target specifically.
No, speak, please
but
don't. Speak in general, please.
In general, there's certainly some of these companies are public companies and you know, don't want opening or closing of stores to you know, be that people would have non-uniform information for, you know, for information to get public to some before others, in as much as that could impact the pricing of their securities, I suppose. There's also a concern just if they could, it could be a PR nightmare if people come to expect or get excited about a project coming to town before all the details are ironed out. And if the deal didn't subsequently happen, it could impact their reputation or public image in some fashion. And as part of that, you know, I suspect it could imperil their negotiation position as well.
Yeah, if I can touch real quick, I mean, it was a
Go right
9
ahead.
month. Okay, thank you. It was a 9 month, you know, negotiation process and approval process. You know, they're a massive corporation with a lot of eyes on them and millions of dollars of capital and stocking and staffing and all kinds of things that need to go in to these stores. And so there is, what I learned is there's a process behind, you know, every bit of how their machine operates. And, you know, we were signed up under pretty strict confidentiality, and all of the individuals working on this project were for the months leading up to being able to finally come public and announce it. But depending on when this objection, and I don't know the timeline on this plumbing code was, it was, I'm guessing, you know, definitely well before we probably had a deal officially signed. It was probably in the works, but well before something that they could come out publicly and announce, if I would guess. And the only other thing I was going to comment on is they do have, and I think we mentioned this last time, but they do have another store in the city. So I don't know if maybe there was some kind of rehab planned on that store that this plumbing code impacts as well. Again, without getting an answer from them, really don't know. But that was the only thing I was going to add.
Thank you. And I think it's fair if members of the committee want to have Target come before the Public Safety Committee. Then they can call upon Target to come before the Public Safety Committee, because that discussion about the plumbing code is pretty much the responsibility of the Public Safety Committee. But I did want to, again, just touch on it just a little bit, because I could feel some anxiety and some concern and frustration, but I want to make sure that we do everything decent and in order, and that we kind of stay germane to what the committee's assignment and roles are. So I'm going to, Alderwoman Martin, you want to do a follow-up to what was said, or I just want to go to Alderwoman Marlene Davis to close?
Well, I just want to say I appreciate and I understanding, you know, staying germane. You know, I'm not trying to digress on this, but I mean, Target knew probably on June 29th when they sent this letter that they were in negotiations, and they put themselves out there. Target made that choice. And if it is the case that they are planning on some sort of rehab or whatever their plans are, I don't know why they wouldn't simply come forward with that. I mean, it seems like a pretty easy thing for Target to do. It could directly impact this legislation. So I don't think that, because it does impact this legislation, I do think it's germane. And thanks for taking your time on this.
Alderwoman Davis, I'm coming to the close, so there's no more discussion on it from members of the committee, but I want to ask, Was this vetted through LCRA? Was there a financial analysis done and all of the standard stuff we have seen in the past?
As a matter of fact, it was done directly through the executive director. He took the leadership role. He went through every process that we have ever used and some additional ones that have been created by the new administration, because that's how we got to the point of having the affordable and moderate income apartment units, and and also understanding that we were definitely going to be looking at the additional retail being developed in that area. So this project went through scrutiny. I can put it very clearly. And it went through every level that we normally do, plus some additional ones. So as I had stated earlier, I was very impressed with St. Louis Development leadership in this. I was very impressed with the developer taking time, understanding, negotiating, and bringing this to what we consider to be a more inclusive project that's looking at the economic developments process that we're going to be doing for the future. So all of that was scrutinized very, very closely. So there's no doubt about that. And I want to make a statement, because some of the things that we've been seeing, most especially the last 4 or 5 years, just in our, the way business is done in our country, the doors were open for people to choose to do things in a what I consider to be an uncharacterized way. So I'm waiting for the response back from Target. I do not believe that the corporate level, the high corporate level, had anything to do with this letter.
It's actually on their corporate stationery.
No.
Okay, Alderwoman Martin, hold up. Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do things decent and in order. Alderwoman Martin, I see your hand is up, but please do not blurt out. You know, if it looks like I'm gonna pass you up, you know, I'm supportive of that. Hey, I wanted to say something, but would you please allow the Alderwoman to continue to speak? I will recognize you. Okay.
Thank you. We've seen a number of incidents where people who are employed do things to benefit themselves and use their status and or access with companies. And these companies have had to come out and, let it be known that they had nothing to do with it. So I'm really interested in waiting to see if the high level corporate had anything to do with this, because I find it strange. And this region, the representation in this region for Target has been superior over the years with their interaction here. And so I really, really am, if that is the case, I would definitely be appalled, but I'm waiting for the answer. And I think that at the end of the day, this is going to be resolved and we won't have to have any concern. The other part that I'd like to close with is that when you have a project this large, and it took as long as this one took to come to a conclusion, with the various layers that are involved, everyone knows everything, and that's a good thing. I think that as we move forward, and we will see even larger deals come through for the city, we will have so many eyes and ears on it, and that's a good thing. I like all the new things that are put in place with the St. Louis Development Corporation, and also some of the new things that are being put in place for review on some of the committees like LCRA and others that will look at projects. So we have a lot of responsibility. We have a lot of people who also are in charge of making sure these things are right. And I believe that we have definitely went through every last one of them with the most scrutiny that you could possibly have. We do not have, this is not a TIF, so you wouldn't have a school board member that would bring any opinion. This is only tax abatement. We also don't have
tax exemption, right?
I mean tax exemption. I'm sorry, and you see here my sinus got me almost gone. Tax exemption. So we want to make sure we don't confuse the public on the processes that have been approved. And we also don't want to continue to add things to public discourse that are not valid in this deliberation. So as we move forward here, we want to make sure that this is a timely process. If there is anything that we need to do, you know, we're good at coming back and taking care of business, whatever needs to be done. So I still would like to ask.
Hold on a motion. Hold on a motion. I'm going to go back to Alderwoman Martin. I'll come right
Yes,
back
sir.
to
Thank you.
Alderwoman Martin.
Thank you, and I apologize for interrupting. I do agree that a lot of times, you know, it's a huge corporation and they probably don't know. Again, I want to see this project. I think it's exciting. Lord knows the shelves at Hampton are always empty, so I'd love for the students to have somewhere else to buy their stuff. But I just, Target is not a nonprofit. They stand to gain, and we are giving them a break. And somebody needs to figure out what's going on, or this person should maybe admit that they shouldn't have gotten involved on a plumbing code issue in the city of St. Louis. And with that, I will lower my hand and stop talking. Thank you.
Okay. I have a request. I would like to get a copy of the performer that was used to justify the bond. I think that's a valid question. The process that SLDC went through to make the deal happen. One of the things I have learned with the newest administration that we have is they're not giving away anything.
No.
Talk about scrutinizing.
Oh, it was scrutinized.
They are on hyper speed on scrutiny, which is a good thing. I'm not criticizing. I think it's very constructive. And I just can't imagine that this was a walk in the park. But I think out of fairness for members of the committee, having a financial performer or whatever tool that was used to show that this is warranted in the spirit of transparency is more than fair.
Mr. Chairman, does
yes.
anyone have that available now that they can share?
Well, I would like it emailed. I think Mr. Conley deserves to get a copy of it.
Okay.
Generally, it would have been handed out to the committee, and you know, it's all kind of part of the presentation. Today have really reminded me of how we have really kind of gotten out of process on how we move our bills, because we haven't been seeing the presentations that we should be seeing, that we've often seen in the past, with the renderings, with the site plans, with the, you know, for public view. I mean, certainly we get information in our emails, but the public isn't privy to all the information that we get. And that's why we do have public hearings, so that we can be transparent, so they do know what process has been followed for us to make the best decision in the public's interest.
And please give, I want to give some allowances, please, because we do have new leadership. Things are being put in place. If you all do like I do, I go on their websites to see new information. And so there's a lot being done. And we know that the processes have changed just a little bit, but that was probably just an oversight because they have a lot of stuff they're trying to do. But I don't think it was done intentionally.
No, and I'm not suggesting that it was done intentionally. Just wanted to back up and start doing things a little better in committee.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to recognize Mr. Hamburg, and then I have a request of the sponsor. Go ahead, Mr. Hamburg.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to clarify one thing that Alderwoman Martin mentioned. Target is not benefiting from this board bill that we're here talking about today in any way whatsoever. They are not an owner or a landlord in this project. They are a tenant to this project. So I know there's an issue with a separate conversation on a plumbing issue, but in terms of what we're here talking about today, Target is not benefiting from this board bill. They're not part of our ownership group. They are paying us rent as a tenant in this project. So I just wanted to clarify that quickly and thank you again.
Okay, Mr. Hamburg. So out of fairness now, I'm not sure I agree with you on that one. Because you as a developer, in order to make this enticing to Target, had to make it affordable for yourself to be able to get Target to agree, you know, with us. So there's a connection there now. Yes, they're not directly benefiting per se, but there's an indirect benefit to Target. So I just want to be clear with that because that's not holistically true what you just said. And I know you didn't say it in a way to be nefarious, but I've been doing this long enough to kind of know how to sift through. Alderman Davis, I don't want things to get real complicated as the bill is debated on the floor, but intertwining this Target and the plumbing code in this, would you be opposed to holding the bill until Target responds to members of the committee that have that concern? Even though it does not, it's not totally germane to your bill, I just see a lot of confusion and a lot of tension on the floor if we pass it out today.
Mr. Chairman, I do understand that we will continue to have things brought before us to confuse and delay this bill. I can only afford one more week. I don't know if you're planning to have, if you're planning to have another committee meeting, but that's all we can afford.
Yeah, I'm having another meeting on the 16th at 1 p.m. Right now, we were only scheduled to talk about the ARPA funds. Mr. Preston, is that going to push you back too far?
Yes, that's it's going to cause problems for our construction timeline.
We're trying to deliver, we've got a very specific timeline to deliver this store for back to school shopping in 2023. And we've agreed with pretty significant penalties if we can't meet that date. So that's why we've been, really pushing this timeline and as fast as we can here. We're already probably 4 weeks behind, where we wanted to be.
Mr. Preston, since you're the lawyer on this, can you give us some kind of surety that we will get a response from Target by Friday before this bill come up for perfection, which would be next Friday?
I can certainly give you my word. We'll use, our best efforts to interface with them and see get some explanation for their role in that process or for their participation in that process. It's just
Mr. Chairman, I can guarantee it.
Okay.
I can guarantee that.
It's your bill, and I know I see your hand up on the line, but are you okay with us moving on? Or, I don't want to disrespect anybody. I see one hand up again too.
The only thing I was going to say is, and I certainly can't speak for Alderwoman Martin, I don't have an issue with holding a vote on this. I'm certainly not trying to obfuscate or delay. I just wanted to bring forward a frustration that I have in general. It's not my intent to hold up this bill. I'm not asking the Alderwoman from the 19th to hold the bill. I'm comfortable having a vote on this today.
Okay, Alderwoman Martin.
I just would echo what Alderman Ryan said. I don't think anyone here today wrote the letter or had anything to do with the letter. I just, wanted to highlight that that is something that this tenant, or however you want to put it, they did do that. And to echo Alderwoman Davis's sentiment about it being a large corporation, and perhaps not everyone knew about it, but the letter is out there. They did send it to the alderman, and I would really like a response, but I'm with Alderman Narayan. I think that we've had a fair hearing on this legislation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Alderwoman Davis, you are totally recognized to close on this bill.
Thank you very much. I'd also like to thank everyone for being very honest in their concern. That's how we get things done. And I would like to ask for consideration for a do pass recommendation for this board bill, sir.
Would you like to make a motion directly?
I move that we adopt board bill number 113 with a do pass recommendation from this committee.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Davis,
Aye.
Alderman Cone, Alderman Coder, Alderwoman Boyd,
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad, Alderwoman Martin,
Aye.
Alderman Narayan,
Aye.
Alderwoman Evans,
Aye.
Chairman Boyd.
Aye.
6 aye votes.
With your vote, pass board bill 113 out of favor with a do pass recommendation. Next board bill. You're welcome. Next board bill before us is board bill 115, introduced by Alderwoman Evans. Alderwoman Evans.
Yes, Chair.
Recommend board bill 115.
Okay. Board Bill 115 is a bill for rezoning from that's located, the property located in the block of 3654. And we want to change it from, change it to multiple family dwelling district. I have someone here that can speak on that. Am I doing this?
Yeah, you're fine. You want Miss?
Am I in order?
Yeah. You want Miss Burton from zoning to speak?
I have. They may speak, and as well as I have Alva Boast.
Sure. Yeah, she has signed up to speak during the public testimony portion. I get to her, but would you like Mary Hart Burton to speak technically about the bill?
Yes.
Okay, Mary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. This is a board bill for the rezoning of 4 parcels at North Sarah Street and St. Ferdinand Avenue in City Block 3674. It's a little over a ½ acre site, and some of the parcels are on Zone C, multiple family, and some are zoned F, neighborhood commercial. The applicant wants to consolidate all of those parcels and rezone them to the D multifamily district. The applicant currently operates an adult daycare center on one of the parcels, and her purpose for consolidation is to develop a residential facility for veterans, and she will also still operate the adult daycare also. And then the applicant is Miss Alva Boost, and Alderwoman Evans said she is here to speak, and I'm happy to answer any questions for the committee.
Thank you. Alderwoman, would you now like me to call on Ms. Post?
Yes,
Okay, and I hope is it Boast or Boost?
Boast.
Boast, okay. Miss Boast, I thought I saw her up there. I see her. Miss Boast, you're now
Okay.
recognized. Can we see your video and then I can swear you in?
Hello, everyone. I would like to start by giving a
Miss
special.
Boast, Miss
I'm
Boast,
boss.
can we see your boss? See,
Boss.
boss.
Oh,
Can we see your video?
Oh,
There we go. Don't be shy. We have to see you in order for you to testify.
okay, no problem.
I
I would like to.
swear you in. So let me swear you in, and
Yes,
then
sir.
you can proceed. Do you affirm or swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You may proceed.
I would like to start by giving a special thanks to Alderwoman Dwayne for supporting my project. And I would like to thank you all as well for allowing me to speak on behalf of our veterans who deserve a place to live, a place that they can actually call home. They fought for our freedom and risked their lives. Whether we realize it or not, without the service of our veterans, we would not have the freedom we have today. And this is why perpetual care was designed. For veterans who don't have a support person who can monitor, supervise, and help with daily activities of living, handle their business affairs. So this is what brings me here today, and hopefully we can get this passed.
Thank you for your consideration of what you're doing, Friday.
Okay, you went out on me.
You're frozen.
Alderwoman Davis.
I don't have any questions. I just want to say to you, I'm very excited about your project. I support the veterans overwhelmingly, and I did want to just say to the Alderwoman of the 4th Ward that I'm glad to see your development moving forward. Thank you.
Okay. Alderman Coulter, did he ever come? Hadn't heard from him. So Pam Boyd. Alderwoman Pam Boyd.
I have no questions.
Alderman Muhammad. Alderwoman Martin.
No questions, thank you.
Alderman Ryan.
Thank you. Just wanted to say this looks like a great project, and I'll certainly be supportive of it, and happy to see more development over in the 4th. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I have no questions. Alderwoman Evans, you are recognized to close on Board Bill 115.
Okay. I'm new at this, so I'm not exactly sure of the words that I need to say.
You could just ask the committee for its most favorable consideration to pass your bill.
Okay, I would like to ask the committee for most favorable consideration for this bill to be passed.
Okay, with that, I'll entertain it. Hold up. You have to make that I'm sorry, you're on the committee. Make that in a motion. Alderwoman Evans. Make a motion to pass Board Bill 115 out of committee with a due pass recommendation.
I make a motion for the board.
Friday, we're just going to finalize the list.
To pass Board Bill 115.
Next week, I guess.
I'm sorry, I'm hearing.
Yeah, somebody needs to be muted.
How many people?
I believe that's Alderwoman Boyd.
Boyd.
Yeah. Okay, she's muted now. Okay. Move to pass Board Bill 115 out of committee with a due pass recommendation.
I move to pass Board Bill 115 out of a commission with a due pass bill.
Due pass recommendation.
Due pass recommendation.
Okay.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Davis.
Aye.
Alderman Cone. Alderman Coulter. Alderwoman Boyd,
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad, Alderwoman Martin,
Aye.
Alderman Ryan,
Aye.
Alderwoman Evans,
Aye.
Chairman Boyd,
Aye.
6 aye votes.
Okay. That looks like we're at the end of the HUS committee meeting. I want to excuse the alderman from the 25th, the 7th, and the 21st due to necessary absence. To see if any committee member have any announcements, and then we'll follow up with adjournment. Alderwoman Davis.
No announcement, sir.
Okay. Alderwoman Pam Boyd.
No announcements.
Alderwoman Martin. Alderman Ryan.
Nothing over here. Thank you.
Alderwoman Evans.
No announcements. Thank you.
Okay, with that, the HUD's committee for November 9th, 2021 is now adjourned. Thank you, everybody.